Imagine, if you will, standing at the edge of a vast forest. Beyond the trees lies a world unknown, full of dangers and wonders, trials and treasures. To step forward is to risk being lost, but to stand still is to guarantee that you'll never be found. You see, life is not a straight line or a perfectly paved road. It's more like a turbulent river full of twists, rapids, and moments where you wonder if the current might pull you under, and yet it's in surrendering to the flow, in risking the chaos, that you discover the beauty of the ride. Life is a dance between risk and reward, an intricate interplay that defines the very essence of human existence. Imagine for a moment a life devoid of risk, a life where every step is predictable, every outcome guaranteed, and every day a repetition of the last. It might seem peaceful at first, even comforting, but how long would it take for that peace to morph into monotony? For the human spirit, so inherently curious and dynamic, stagnation is a slow death. Risk, therefore, is not just an occasional gamble, it is the lifeblood of adventure, the pulse of a meaningful life. Consider the stories that captivate us, the tales we pass down through generations. None of them are born in comfort zones. Whether it's the hero braving the unknown or the visionary who dares to dream, the most compelling narratives arise from moments of uncertainty and courage. Risk is the crucible in which these stories are forged. Without it, there is no journey worth recounting, no triumph worth celebrating. It is in taking the leap, in stepping into the abyss of the unknown, that we find not only the treasures of life, but also ourselves. But why is risk so crucial? Because it is the gateway to growth. The very act of stepping beyond what we know, beyond what feels safe, stretches us. It challenges our assumptions, tests our limits, and more often than not, redefines who we are. In risk there is discomfort, yes, but there is also discovery. It is through this dance with the unpredictable that we stumble upon new opportunities, learn new skills, and uncover strengths we never knew we had. Risk is the bridge between the life we live and the life we dream of. The reward is not always guaranteed, of course. That is the nature of risk. It carries with it the possibility of failure. And yet, even in failure, there is reward. Failure teaches us resilience, humility, and the ability to persevere. It strips away our illusions of perfection and forces us to confront our true selves. In this confrontation lies the seed of transformation. Every stumble, every fall, every failure is a step closer to mastery, a chapter in the story of our evolution. Without risk, there is no failure, and without failure, there is no growth. Yet, society often conditions us to avoid risk. We are taught to value security, to stick to the script, to color within the lines. But what is security, really? It is an illusion, a construct that promises stability but often delivers stagnation. The pursuit of absolute safety can rob us of the very essence of life. It binds us to routines, limits our possibilities, and cages our potential. True security lies not in avoiding risk, but in embracing it, knowing that no matter what happens, we have the capacity to adapt, to learn, and to thrive. Risk is also what makes life exhilarating. The rush of adrenaline, the quickening of the heart, the thrill of not knowing what lies ahead, these are the moments that make us feel alive. They remind us that we are part of something bigger, something unpredictable and vast. When we take a risk, we are not just testing our boundaries, we are participating in the grand adventure of existence. We are saying yes to life in all its messiness and magnificence. Think of the moments in your own life that have shaped you. Were they the times when everything went according to plan, when the road was smooth and straight? Or were they the moments when you took a chance, when you stepped into the unknown despite the fear? Those moments, however small or grand, are the milestones of your journey. They are the stories you will tell, the memories you will cherish, and the experiences that will define your path. So why do we hesitate? Why do we cling to the shore when the vast ocean of possibility lies before us? Fear, of course, is a powerful force. It whispers of failure, of rejection, of loss. But fear is also a signpost. It points to the edges of our comfort zones, to the places where growth is waiting. To dance with fear, to move forward despite it, is to honor the adventure of being alive. Life is a dance, and risk is the rhythm. Without it, The dance loses its spark, its spontaneity, its soul. To embrace risk is to embrace life itself, to step into the unknown with open arms and a willing heart. And for in that space of uncertainty lies the magic of possibility, the thrill of discovery, and the promise of transformation. No risk, no story, and what is life without a story worth telling? Fear is the threshold of transformation. It is the shadow that looms before every significant leap, every bold decision, and every step into the unknown. Fear is not the enemy we often perceive it to be. Instead, it is a guide, a signal that we are approaching something meaningful. Without fear, there is no courage. Without the tremor of uncertainty, there is no triumph. Fear, in its essence, is the gatekeeper to the profound changes that shape us, and learning to navigate it is the key to unlocking a fuller, richer life. When we stand at the edge of something new, a new opportunity, a challenge, or even a dream, we feel fear because we are leaving behind the familiar. The mind resists uncertainty, craving safety and predictability, but growth demands we step beyond those boundaries. The things we fear most, failure, rejection, or loss, are often the very things that can teach us the most about ourselves. Fear is the birthplace of bravery because courage can only exist in its presence. And to feel fear and act anyway is one of the most powerful choices we can make. Think about a time when fear held you back. Perhaps it was fear of speaking up, fear of failing at something new, or fear of going after what you truly wanted. Those moments of hesitation often feel like chains, binding us to a version of life that is smaller than what we are capable of living. And yet, the instant we decide to move forward despite the fear, those chains begin to loosen. The act of facing fear is liberating. It transforms the unknown from something that terrifies us into something that empowers us. Fear, when viewed from the right perspective, is not a wall but a doorway. It is a challenge issued by life itself, asking us whether we are ready to grow, to stretch, to become more than we were before. The initial steps through that doorway can be the hardest. They may feel like walking blindfolded into a storm, uncertain of what lies on the other side. But every step forward, however small, builds momentum. Each act of courage erodes the power of fear, replacing it with confidence, clarity, and strength. We often mistake fear for a sign that we should stop, that we are not ready, or that we are on the wrong path. But more often than not, fear is a sign that we are exactly where we need to be. It is a signal that we are standing at the edge of growth, where the most meaningful transformations occur. Fear does not arise when we are idle or stagnant. It arises when we are on the verge of something significant, something that has the potential to change us. Transformation is rarely comfortable. It requires us to let go of what we know, to dismantle old beliefs, and to step into a space where we might fail. But it is in these moments of discomfort that we discover our true selves. Fear forces us to confront our limitations, but it also reveals our strengths. It strips away the superficial and leaves us with something raw and real, a deeper understanding of who we are and what we are capable of. What if, instead of running from fear, we embraced it? What if we saw it not as an obstacle, but as an invitation? Fear can be a powerful teacher, showing us what we value most, what we dream of, and what we are willing to fight for. It illuminates the edges of our desires and points us toward the paths that matter. When we listen to fear without letting it control us, it can guide us to where we need to go. The moments that define our lives are rarely the ones that come easily or without effort. They are the moments when we stood face to face with fear and chose to move forward anyway. They are the times when we stepped into the unknown, uncertain of the outcome, but certain that staying still was not an option. These moments of courage and transformation become the stories we carry with us, the stories that inspire others, and the stories that remind us of our strength. Fear will always be a part of life, but it does not have to be a limitation. Instead, it can be a companion, walking beside us as we navigate the unpredictable terrain of growth and transformation. The next time fear whispers in your ear, remember that it is not trying to stop you, it is trying to wake you up. It is reminding you that you are on the edge of something extraordinary, and all you have to do is take the next step. The illusion of security is one of the most pervasive traps of modern life. We are conditioned to seek safety, to build walls around ourselves, and to create routines that feel predictable and comfortable. Yet the very idea of total security is a mirage. It promises stability, yet it robs us of the vibrant, unpredictable experiences that make life meaningful. True fulfillment cannot be found by clinging to what feels safe, but by stepping into the unknown and embracing the uncertainty that comes with it. The security, as we often understand it, is a construct of the mind. It's the belief that if we plan well enough, save enough, and avoid risks, we can protect ourselves from pain, failure, or loss. But life is inherently unpredictable. No amount of preparation can shield us from every twist and turn. Jobs are lost, relationships change, health can falter, and circumstances beyond our control can disrupt even the most carefully laid plans. This unpredictability is not a flaw in life's design, it is its essence. The sooner we accept this, the sooner we can free ourselves from the illusion that staying safe is the ultimate goal. Ironically, the pursuit of security often leads to a different kind of risk, the risk of stagnation. By avoiding uncertainty, we may inadvertently close ourselves off from opportunities for growth, connection, and adventure. Imagine spending your entire life in a fortress, protected from the outside world. While you might feel safe, you would also be isolated, unable to experience the richness and complexity of life. The walls that protect you also confine you. In chasing the illusion of security, we sometimes build these metaphorical walls, cutting ourselves off from the experiences that truly matter. Think about the moments in your life that have brought you the most joy, growth, or fulfillment. Were they moments of absolute certainty, or were they moments when you stepped outside your comfort zone? Perhaps it was starting a new job, traveling to an unfamiliar place, or taking a chance on love. These moments, though uncertain and even scary at the time, often become the highlights of our stories. They remind us that the best things in life are rarely found within the confines of what feels safe. The fear of losing security is deeply rooted in our survival instincts, but in today's world, this instinct often holds us back more than it protects us. We cling to the known because it feels familiar, even when it no longer serves us. A job that drains your energy, a relationship that stifles your growth, or a routine that leaves you uninspired can all feel safe simply because they are predictable. But predictability is not the same as happiness. Sometimes the greatest risk we can take is to let go of what is comfortable and trust that something better awaits. The truth is, there is no such thing as absolute security. Life is a constant ebb and flow, a dance between stability and change. By acknowledging this, we can shift our perspective. Instead of clinging to the illusion of control, we can learn to adapt, to flow with the currents of life rather than resisting them. This doesn't mean recklessly abandoning all plans or precautions. It means recognizing that uncertainty is not something to be feared, but embraced as a natural part of the journey. Stepping away from the illusion of security requires courage, but it also brings freedom. When we let go of the need to control every outcome, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We begin to see life not as something to be managed, but as something to be experienced. Each day becomes an opportunity to explore, to learn, and to grow. And in this exploration, we often find that the things we were so afraid to lose, our comfort, our routines, our sense of control, were never as valuable as we believed. Consider the lives of those who inspire us. They are not marked by a relentless pursuit of safety, but by a willingness to take risks, to face challenges, and to embrace uncertainty. Whether it's an artist pouring their soul into their work, an entrepreneur chasing a bold vision, or a traveler venturing into the unknown, these individuals remind us that life's rewarding experiences lie beyond the boundaries of security. They show us that the pursuit of safety is often the enemy of adventure, and that true fulfillment comes from daring to live fully. Security is not a goal, it is a byproduct of confidence in our ability to navigate life's uncertainties. When we trust ourselves, our resilience, our creativity, our capacity to adapt, we no longer need to cling to the illusion of safety. We can step boldly into the unknown, knowing that whatever comes our way, we are equipped to handle it. And in doing so, we reclaim the freedom to live authentically and courageously. In the end, the illusion of security is just that, an illusion. Life was never meant to be lived in a bubble of predictability. It is meant to be an adventure full of surprises, challenges, and transformations. By letting go of the need for absolute safety, we make room for the unexpected joys and opportunities that make life worth living. Success lies beyond comfort, a truth that challenges our natural inclination to stay where things are familiar, predictable, and safe. The human instinct for comfort, while useful for survival, can also become a barrier to growth and achievement. Comfort zones are tempting because they shield us from the risks of failure, rejection, or disappointment. Yet the price of staying within these boundaries is far greater than the fleeting discomfort of stepping outside them. The life you dream of, the person you aspire to become, and the goals that ignite your passion all exist beyond the realm of what feels easy or familiar. The comfort zone is a place of safety, but it is also a place of stagnation. When we stay within its limits, we stop challenging ourselves, and without challenge there is no growth. Consider a plant in a pot that has become too small for its roots. Though the pot may have been the perfect size at one time, the plant cannot thrive unless it outgrows its container. Similarly, we need to push beyond our boundaries to reach our potential. Staying comfortable may feel satisfying in the short term, but in the long run it leaves us unfulfilled and wondering what might have been. Think of any major achievement, personal or professional, and you'll find a story of someone who dared to leave their comfort zone. Whether it's an athlete breaking records, an artist creating a masterpiece, or an entrepreneur building a groundbreaking business, success requires taking risks and facing uncertainty. These individuals were not immune to fear or doubt, but they chose to act despite them. They understood that growth is a process of stepping into the unknown, confronting challenges, and learning from every misstep along the way. The journey beyond comfort is not always easy, but it is always rewarding. It is in the struggle, the uncertainty, and even the failures that we discover what we are truly capable of. Each time we push ourselves a little further, we expand our horizons and build confidence in our ability to face the unknown. What once seemed daunting becomes manageable, and what once felt impossible becomes attainable. The more we challenge ourselves, the more we grow, and with growth comes a sense of fulfillment that no amount of comfort can provide. Success in any form is rarely linear. It is a winding path filled with obstacles, detours, and moments of doubt. But these difficulties are not roadblocks, they are stepping stones. They teach us resilience, patience, and perseverance. Each challenge we face equips us with the skills and strength we need to tackle the next one. The discomfort of growth is temporary, but the rewards are lasting. Every time we step outside our comfort zone, we take one step closer to realizing our potential. Fear often holds us back from venturing into the unknown. We fear failure, judgment, or the possibility that we might not be good enough. But fear is not a stop sign, it is a signal that we are on the verge of something meaningful. The presence of fear often means that what lies ahead is important, that it has the power to change us in significant ways. Instead of avoiding fear, we can learn to work with it, using it as a compass to guide us toward the experiences that will shape and define us. The path beyond comfort is also where we find connection. The greatest relationships, collaborations, and shared experiences are often the result of taking a chance on someone else, on an opportunity, or on ourselves. When we step out of our safe routines, we open ourselves to new perspectives and possibilities. We meet people who challenge us, inspire us, and push us to be better. These connections are often the catalyst for growth and success, reminding us that we are not alone on this journey. The beauty of stepping beyond comfort is that it transforms us. Each risk we take and each challenge we overcome adds to the story of who we are. The person we become through this process is stronger, wiser, and more capable than the person who stayed behind. Success is not just about achieving goals, it is about the growth that happens along the way. It is about becoming the kind of person who dares to dream big and works tirelessly to bring those dreams to life. Ultimately, comfort is not the enemy, it is simply a resting place. It is where we recharge before embarking on the next adventure, not where we are meant to stay indefinitely. Success lies beyond comfort because it is there that we discover our true potential. It is there that we write the stories worth telling, create the work that leaves an impact, and live the lives that feel truly meaningful. Comfort is a starting point, but growth, achievement, and fulfillment await in the unknown. And it is only by stepping into that unknown that we can truly succeed. Risk is the birthplace of stories. Every great narrative, every moment of triumph, and every life-changing experience begins with a single act of courage, the willingness to take a risk. Without it, there is no adventure, no transformation, and no tale worth telling. Our lives are defined by the moments when we dare to step outside the ordinary, to embrace uncertainty, and to face challenges head-on. These are the moments that shape us, challenge us, and ultimately make us who we are. Without risk, life becomes a series of safe but forgettable routines, devoid of the spark that makes it extraordinary. Stories are not built on monotony or perfection. They are born from conflict, struggle, and resolution. The characters who inspire us in books, films, and history are those who dared to risk something, whether it was their comfort, their reputation, or their very lives. They stepped into the unknown with no guarantee of success, driven by purpose, passion, or sheer necessity. Their journeys resonate with us because they mirror the human experience, the leap into the dark, the struggle to find the way, and the eventual discovery of something greater. Consider the times in your own life that stand out as pivotal. Perhaps it was the decision to pursue a new career, the courage to speak up for what you believe in, or the choice to follow your heart in the face of uncertainty. These moments were likely not without fear or hesitation, but they are also the moments you remember most vividly. They are the stories you tell because they hold meaning and significance. Risk gives life texture and depth, transforming ordinary days into extraordinary memories. It's easy to avoid risk. The comfort zone is alluring, offering a sense of safety and predictability. But what is the cost of staying there? A life without risk is a life without growth, adventure, or discovery. It is a life that, while free of certain dangers, is also free of the exhilaration that comes with stepping into the unknown. Risk is not reckless, it is necessary. It propels us forward, forcing us to confront our fears and test our limits. And in doing so, it reveals what we are truly capable of. Failure, a natural companion to risk, is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. But failure is not the end of the story, it is a part of it. Every failure is a lesson. The greatest successes are often built on a foundation of countless failures. They teach resilience, humility, and the ability to adapt. Risk and failure are intertwined, but they are also the pathways to growth and transformation. Without the willingness to fail, we deny ourselves the chance to succeed. Taking risks also connects us to others. The most meaningful relationships are born from moments of vulnerability, from the decision to open up and let someone in. The most impactful collaborations are the result of individuals daring to share their ideas, take a chance on a partnership, and trust in the possibility of something greater than themselves. Stories of connection, love, and shared purpose are rooted in the willingness to risk rejection or disappointment for the chance at something beautiful and profound. Risk is not just about the big, dramatic moments. It is present in the small, everyday choices we make to live authentically and pursue our values. It is in the decision to try something new, to speak our truth, or to stand up for what matters. These small acts of courage, compounded over time, create the stories of our lives. They remind us that every day holds the potential for growth and change if we are willing to embrace it. The power of risk lies in its ability to transform. Each leap of faith adds to the narrative of who we are, making our lives richer and more dynamic. The stories we create through risk inspire others, showing what is possible when we dare to act. They remind us that life is not about avoiding pain or playing it safe. It is about experiencing everything, the highs and the lows, the successes and the failures, the joys and the heartbreaks. At the end of our lives, the stories we cherish most will not be the ones where everything went perfectly or predictably. They will be the moments when we risked something important for the chance to achieve something extraordinary. These are the stories that define us, that inspire those around us, and that give our lives meaning. Risk is the birthplace of stories because it is the essence of what makes us human. It pushes us to grow, to connect, and to create. It challenges us to step into the unknown and trust in the journey. Without risk, there is no adventure, no growth, and no story worth telling. By embracing risk, we embrace life in all its uncertainty, beauty, and possibility, and in doing so, we write the stories that will live on long after we are gone. You see, the trouble is that we've been told a great lie, that we need others to validate our worth, that love must come from outside, and that without someone cheering us on, we somehow lack the strength to move. But when a man finally sits down and listens to the silence within himself, he discovers something infinitely more powerful than applause or affection. He discovers himself. Now, the man who walks through fire with no hand to hold, no eyes watching, no praise waiting at the end, that man is dangerous. Not in the sense of violence, but in the sense of unshakable being. He knows he is not here to be liked. He is not here to be coddled. He is here to rise. And rise he does, not despite the solitude, but because of it. You must understand, love is not something owed to you. Support is not a guarantee. People come and go. Affection wanes. Alliances fade. But when you are left with no shoulder to lean on, no soft voice to reassure you, that is when you finally touch the raw material of your soul. That is where the fire begins, because everything borrowed eventually returns. The support you leaned on will one day disappear. The love you clung to will one day be redirected. The safety nets will tear and the comforts will dissolve, and you, if you've lived your life depending on them, will fall with them. But if you've faced the storm alone, if you've chosen to stand when all reason said kneel, then you'll find, quite to your surprise, that you don't fall at all. You rise. The world will test you. It will strip you of illusion. It will take what you thought you needed, friends, lovers, status, titles, and it will crush them in front of you, not to destroy you, but to show you what you never really needed. And in that moment of apparent loss, something stirs. Not desperation, not panic, but clarity. It's like the man who wakes up in a forest, abandoned, cold, starving, and instead of collapsing in tears, he builds a fire, carves a spear, and learns to hunt. Why? Because he must. And not because he's fearless, but because there is no other option. The man who has no one left to rely on has only one choice left: to become something new. It's a peculiar thing, solitude. At first, it gnaws at you. The mind panics. Where is everyone? Why doesn't anyone care? But then, slowly, the noise fades. The fear dies, and you hear something deeper, a quiet power, a steady flame, and it's always been there, beneath the layers of noise and need, waiting for you to see it. And when you do, you stop asking for strength. You stop begging for love. You stop needing encouragement, because you've become the source. You don't seek a lifeline. You become one, not for others, that comes later, but first for yourself. You become the one man in your life who will not leave you, the one voice that does not lie to you, the one presence that cannot abandon you. There is no tragedy in being alone. The only tragedy is never having met yourself. The world teaches you to collect people like possessions. It tells you to define your value by how many eyes look at you with admiration, how many hands reach out when you stumble. But there is a rare kind of man who doesn't need any of that, because he's seen what it's like to have nothing, and he didn't break. It's in that absence that your essence emerges, the raw, untamed man, not shaped by approval, not molded by softness, but carved by fire, shaped by silence, and made whole through absence. He doesn't complain about what he lacks. He simply moves forward. He doesn't announce his power. You feel it in the way he stands, in the way he moves, in the way he looks, through you and into the very core of things. Though this man does not chase love because he has become love. He doesn't beg for support because he has become his own spine. He doesn't seek permission to rise because his rise is inevitable. He is not waiting for a savior. He has become one for himself. When the world offers nothing, no praise, no softness, no hand to hold, he smiles, because that is the moment he's been waiting for. That is the moment he steps forward, alone, not as a victim, but as a force. Because for the man who has learned to stand alone, there is no higher power. There is only the strength he found in the dark, and that strength cannot be taken away. You'll notice something happens when a man stops begging the world to give him what he thought he needed. The desperation in his eyes fades. The questions stop. The noise dies. It's not because he has found everything, but because he has realized he never truly lacked anything. What was missing was not love from others, but attention to the self. Not support from the outside, but discipline from within. And when you truly understand that no one is coming to save you, something within you changes forever. You stop waiting, you stop complaining, you stop blaming, and you stop building. Slowly, quietly, methodically, brick by brick. You may not have comfort, you may not have approval, but you have time, you have your breath, you have your will, and that's enough. Men who rise alone become something rare, something untouchable. Not because they are cold, but because they are whole. They don't seek wholeness through another. They don't need someone to complete them, because they've walked through fire and found the diamond that was hidden underneath the ash of expectation. Society fears this kind of man, not because he is violent, not because he is arrogant, but because he cannot be manipulated. He cannot be tamed with praise, nor crushed with silence. He does not seek approval because he has seen what approval costs. Your soul, your spine, your sovereignty. And he refuses to pay that price. When you begin to walk the path alone, the world will resist. It will call you selfish, cold, heartless, but only because your strength reminds them of their dependence, only because your silence mirrors their noise. And so they will call you dangerous. Let them, because the truth is, you are. You're dangerous to the illusions they protect. You're dangerous to the weakness they cling to. You're dangerous to the idea that without love or help, a man must fall. Because you don't fall. You stand, you rise, you walk forward, with no map, no guide, and no applause, and that terrifies them. But here's the beauty in all of this. Once you've embraced the loneliness, it's no longer loneliness. It becomes solitude. It becomes power. It becomes peace. You no longer feel the ache for company, not because you hate people, but because you become enough. And that is the greatest act of rebellion in a world that profits from your emptiness. To be full without them, this is not the path of the many. It never was. Most will chase comfort. They'll chase validation. They'll chase affection and call it love. They'll avoid pain and call it peace. But the man who dares to walk without a crutch, he finds something different. He finds truth. Not the kind of truth that shouts, the kind that whispers. The kind you find when there's no one left to impress, when there's nothing left to prove, when it's just you and the silence. And in that silence, something speaks back, something ancient, something wild, something that was always there beneath the surface of your fear. You see, when you've lived without support, every ounce of progress feels sacred. Every small win is yours, and yours alone. And it's not just achievement, it's transformation. You don't become better, you become real. You stop performing and start living. You stop surviving and start becoming. And in this way, your scars become stories, not of weakness, but of birth. Each wound a lesson, each failure a furnace, each abandonment a teacher, until you no longer curse the silence, but thank it, because without it, you would have never heard yourself think. Without love, you learn to love yourself, not with affirmations or delusions, but with action, with care, with boundaries. You stop chasing what leaves and start nurturing what stays. You, your breath, your work, your mission. And slowly you become a man who is unmoved by chaos because his peace is internal. This is not a fantasy, it is not mythology. It is something real, and it is within reach of every man. If he's willing to lose everything he thought he needed, if he's willing to endure the withdrawal from external love, if he's willing to sit with the fear of being unseen and unfavored, because beyond that fear lies something unimaginable, freedom, the kind of freedom that doesn't come from money or status or sex, but the kind that comes from knowing I am complete, even here, even now, even in this aloneness. And once you taste that kind of power, you cannot go back to being owned by attention. There are men who spend their entire lives building themselves to be accepted by others. They become strong not because they value strength, but because they hope someone will finally notice them. They gain wealth not because they honor discipline, but because they believe money will bring affection. But the man who rises alone, he does it for no audience. He does it because it is his nature to rise. And this difference matters, because one path leads to emptiness no matter how much you achieve, and the other leads to fullness, even in the absence of praise. A man who needs nothing cannot be broken. A man who walks without applause does not stop when the clapping fades. He moves because he must. There is a moment, and every man will face it, when the world goes quiet, when the phone doesn't ring, when the eyes no longer watch, when the comfort is gone. That moment is the test, not of your strength, but of your truth. Will you crumble? Or will you finally meet the version of yourself that never needed any of it? And that version, oh, that version is a revelation. He is the man who smiles in storms, who walks away without explanation, who builds when no one is watching, who speaks only when necessary. And when he speaks, the room listens, not because he demands it, but because his presence commands it. Because when a man has built his soul in silence, he carries the weight of 1,000 fallen selves. He has died and risen more times than the world can count. And so when he speaks, it is not from theory. It is from fire, from death, from rebirth. And you can feel it. You cannot fake this path. You cannot mimic it with quotes and tattoos. You have to walk it. Alone, through long nights, through empty rooms, through shattered hopes. You have to bleed for it. And in that bleeding, you're not becoming someone else. You're peeling away everything you never were. The irony is, once you've become this man, love may return, support may find you, people may finally admire you, but you won't need it. And that is what makes you so powerful. You'll welcome their presence, but never depend on it. You'll be kind, but not compliant. Loving, but not owned. Connected, but not bound, because you've seen who you are without it all. And that man is enough. The man who rises alone understands that silence is not emptiness. It is the canvas on which truth appears. It's where all illusions are stripped away. No one is left to deceive you, no audience to perform for, no companion to hide behind, just the mirror of raw existence staring back, demanding honesty. And there in the stillness, you begin to see what you truly are and what you are not. You are not the names they gave you. You are not the failures they laughed at. You are not the boy who was never picked. You are not the man they walked away from. You are not the mistakes that haunt your memory in the early hours. What you are, what you have always been, is unshaped fire. But the world tried to extinguish you before you understood how to burn. They left. They betrayed. They ignored good. Because every act of abandonment was a chisel. Every betrayal a hammer, and they unknowingly carved you into something real. The man who does not break only sharpens. The one who uses pain as blueprint, as ritual, as refinement. You must understand that suffering is not your enemy, comfort is. Because pain awakens the sleeping parts of you. It forces you to shed the softness of illusion. It reminds you that survival is earned. But comfort Comfort lulls you into a slow death. It tricks you into believing you are safe while your edges dull, your purpose fades, and your fire dims. The man who walks without support knows this. He does not fear the harsh wind nor the long road. He knows the isolation is the forge, that the cold is part of the training. He doesn't seek warmth in others anymore because he has learned to make fire with his bare hands, and that fire, it does not flicker with the opinions of others. It does not depend on the weather of affection. It burns from within. People will ask you, how did you become this way? And you'll have no easy answer, because they didn't see the nights you spent on the floor, talking only to your pain. They didn't see the morning you woke up with nothing, not even a voice in your corner, and still put your feet on the ground. They didn't see the 1,000 silent battles you won, each time refusing to surrender to bitterness. They only see the calm now, the power, the unshakable presence, but they do not see what it cost you. And you won't explain, because you no longer need to. That's the difference. You do not need anyone to understand you. You do not need their sympathy. You are beyond the hunger for recognition. You are no longer performing. You are living. There is a kind of man who walks into a room and doesn't need to speak. His silence speaks for him. His stillness shakes the room. Why? Because he's not trying. He's being. He is not wearing strength as a mask. It is his nature. He does not speak wisdom as poetry. It is his breath. And people feel that. Even if they can't name it, they sense it. But to become that man, you must first be willing to lose everything you thought made you one. You must lose the love that softened you, the support that spoiled you, the attention that distracted you. You must walk through the fire naked, no armor, no ego, no illusion of control. And you must stay there long enough to burn away what is false, long enough to uncover what is unbreakable. Most cannot do this. Most will run back to comfort, to distraction, to noise, to validation, because the silence is terrifying. It echoes too loud. It reveals too much. But for the man who stays, for the man who remains when there's nothing left to lean on, he receives something rare, not just strength, but clarity, vision, peace. Not the kind of peace that comes when everything goes your way. That peace is a lie. Real peace is the calm that remains even when nothing goes your way. It's the quiet center of a man who has already faced the worst and didn't die, who knows his worth not by what he gains, but by what he can endure without crumbling. And this kind of man doesn't need to be feared. He needs to be respected. Because he has mastered what others deny. He has befriended the dark. He has swallowed his loneliness and let it become strength. He has walked through rejection and remained kind. He has been forgotten, but never forgets who he is. There is something divine in this path, something ancient. Men have always walked into the wilderness alone to find themselves. They were never sent with a crowd, no applause, no map, just the elements, the silence, the hunger, the night, and in that